Falcon!
Now, Getter Robo is perhaps one of the most iconic mecha series around, popularizing combining robots as well as one of the biggest influencers for Gurren Lagann. Seriously, if you're a fan of Gurren Lagann and haven't checked out Getter Robo, you really need to fix that. Despite this, it always surprises me as to why it seems the series never gets that much attention, even from the many mecha fans I've come to know over the past couple of years. Even more surprising is that it's taken me years to finally read and complete the Getter manga. I've watched all the OVAs, which are all fantastic, and have made a video on them quite a while back. But the Getter Robo manga is still a must read, not only for mecha and super robot fans, but also fans of sci-fi and action, which the series has in spades, as well as some really neat and surprising doses of horror, especially cosmic horror, but we'll get into that a bit later. But before I really start telling you what makes this series as a whole so amazing, allow me to quickly run through the plots of each installment of the Getter Saga, with the first one being the start of the legacy being 1974's Getter Robo. In this series, we see a practically mad scientist named Professor Saotome try to harness the mysterious power of the Getter rays in order to combat the monstrous Emperor Gore and his dinosaur empire from taking over the world. In order to combat Gore, the professor creates the Getter Robo, a powerful 3-in-1 mech powered by the Getter rays that can combine and change into 3 different mechs, being Getter 1, the most used and versatile of the Getter combinations, Getter 2, the original drill that pierced the heavens, and Getter 3, which is more tank-like and great in underwater combat. However, Saotome can't pilot the Getter alone, and not just anyone can pilot the Getter, as it has to be someone compatible with the Getter rays, which so happens to be 3 pretty insane teenagers, being Ryoma Nagare, a martial artist delinquent who busts dojos across Japan to prove the power of his father's style, as well as one of the most badass dudes to ever get inside a giant robot. Then there's Jin Hayato, a delinquent gang leader whose first appearance has him fucking mutilating a dude's face and then pissing himself at first sight of the dinosaur empire. Despite this, he somehow winds up being the most mature and calculating of the 3 as the series goes on. And finally, there's Musashi Tomoe, a judo expert and the most compassionate of the 3. I mean, come on, hot-blooded teenagers and giant robots fighting dinosaurs? Well, fuck yeah, that's one of the most badass things you could think of, and a great start for a series that will eventually become an icon in the genre. After the original series, we head over to Getter Robo Go, starring a new, more powerful version of the Getter, which I'm honestly not too big of a fan of. I just really don't like the face that much. However, not only do we get a new Getter, but we also get a new Getter pilot with Benkei, who teams up with the Getter team, who now has to go up against a new threat trying to take over the Earth, being the Hyaki clan, led by Emperor Burai, who comes from a society of once humans turned demon. So we moved on from giant robots fighting dinosaurs to giant robots fighting space demons. Honestly, it's no wonder this series became such an icon. However, after that, we have a short series that greatly impacts the rest of the Getter saga, being Shin Getter Robo, in which the Getter team see the return of old threats that have mysteriously come back. However, both the original Getter and Getter G are unable to stop them, which leads to the introduction of one of my personal favorite Getters, this Shin Getter Robo, which just screams badass robot you don't want to mess with. However, as the series goes on, it becomes more apparent that the returns of the previous threats were just used as a message for one of the greatest threats that the Getter team will face, being the Getter and Getter rays themselves, as we now get a true glimpse of the raw and chaotic power of them, leading to the breakup of the Getter team, which then takes us to one of the longest entries of the Getter saga, being Getter Robo Go, taking place 16 years after Shin Getter Robo, and seeing a brand new team of Getter pilots consisting of the hot-headed Go, the badass soldier K, and the once mechanic now pilot Guy, as well as a new Getter who's visually quite unlike the previous 3, all of which are led by Hayato, who's created an organization after the fall of the original Getter team to protect the Earth. Once again, this new Getter team is assembled in order to combat another evil empire hellbent on destroying the Earth, since it really seems like the Earth can't catch a damn break when it comes to these evil empires. The empire this time is the Vega Zone, led by the cyborg Dr. Lando. Okay, cyborg leading an army of metal beasts may not sound as cool as dinosaurs and space demons, but these metal beasts are damn horrifying at times. With Getter Robo Go being the longest of the Getter saga, we are able to explore more of the established lore of the series, with a lot more details and revelations about the Getter and Getter rays. Characters, both new and old, have more time to develop, And we also get a lot more robots. As in Get a Robo Go, militaries from around the world begin creating their own giant robots to protect and represent them, leading to a whole lot more cool mecha and hot-blooded soldiers to fight alongside the Getter and Getter team. Though I am a bit sad to see that the Texas Mac from the OVAs wasn't being a representative for America. But moving on, we have the final entry of the Getter saga, being Get a Robo Arc, or It's kind of debatable which is the proper way of saying it, but for this video I'll just say Arc. Now Get a Robo Arc takes place 10 years after the events of the previous series in a massively changed world, in which once again an evil empire, this time being the Drama country who were introduced in Shin Getter, set out to destroy the world, leading to the formation of a new Getter and Getter team. Only this time the team, once again led by Hayato, consists of Takuma Nagare, Ryoma's son, Baku Yamagishi, the younger brother of another character from Get a Robo Go, and perhaps the most interesting of the bunch, Kamui Sho, a half-human, half-dinosaur man. As the bitter and long-time rivalry between mankind and the dinosaur empire must be stalled as they have to work together in order to stop this newest threat. However, old habits die hard, and there's quite a bit of scheming going on in the background of the dinosaur empire, as we have an even deeper look at their society. Get a Robo Arc was really shaping out to be something special for the Getter saga, with a lot of the series' lore and built up over the past few entries truly shining through. However, the series unfortunately was cut short due to the death of Ken Ishikawa, leaving the Getter saga ultimately unfinished. While there has been a few Getter manga series made without Ken, none of them really set out to finish what he started, with a lot of them taking place in alternate realities. However, despite that, I strongly feel the entire journey throughout the Getter saga is absolutely worth it. When it comes to hot-blooded action and super robots, it's truly hard to find another series that does it as well as Get a Robo. Having a good sense of action both in and out of the robots, tons of insane attacks and destruction, and some just truly hype moments. However, there really is more to the series than that. While sure at the surface level almost every entry has the same premise, with an evil empire coming in and a new Getter and Getter team coming in to whoop its ass. However, for the most part, each entry does something different with it all. The first two series kinda have a superhero vibe to it, with the three Getter pilots fighting various monsters that, while destructive, were nowhere near as horrific as the threats to come later on. Shin Get a Robo was more to set up the dangers to come. With Get a Robo Go, we sort of move away from the superhero feeling and go in for a more military team feel, alongside a larger cast of characters. And finally, Arc was supposed to have that epic last hope feeling, however unfortunately was never able to be completed due to Ishikawa's unfortunate death. On top of that, we have all this lore that builds up and develops over the course of the series, with the mysteries of the Getter and Getter rays, as well as looks behind the various empires the Getter fights, many of which cross paths quite a few times throughout the saga. Which is why I feel Getter is amazing not just for mecha or super robot fans, but even just fans of sci-fi, as there's just so much to be explored throughout this series run. Then there's those horror vibes I was mentioning earlier, that throughout my reread for the series in order to get pictures for this video, I was kind of shocked of the horrifying imagery to be found in the series. While sure, the monsters in the first couple entries can look a bit goofy to some, however the way the art displays their violence and destruction makes them feel truly menacing. However, as the series goes on, the monstrous threats get even more and more horrific, until eventually we reach the point where the series pretty much dabbles with cosmic horror, with some things later on feeling almost Lovecraftian. Of course, backing all of this up is the art, and oh my goodness, I can't stress this enough, but Ken Ishikawa was an amazing artist, and it's so satisfying seeing how his art developed throughout the course of the Getter saga. What I've always loved about Ishikawa's artwork is that just by looking at it, you could just feel the hot-blooded badassery coursing through it, especially through the expressions of the characters and even sometimes the robots themselves. There's loads of panels showing off incredible scale and detail that are quite jaw-dropping at times. This video probably had the most amount of pictures I saved for footage to use in a video, and while a bit of that can be contributed to the fact that I'm talking about multiple entries of a series, but still at the same time a lot of these panels just looked really awesome. And with all that said, it's surprising that Get a Robo still does not have a proper anime series. Sure, Get a Robo has quite a bit of anime, OVA, and crossover adaptations, but none of them ever truly follow Ishikawa's story, rather just taking the general concept, or even sometimes take elements from various parts of the Getter Saga and sort of Frankenstein stitch them together into something new. And while for the most part I've loved every Getter anime I've seen, I still do hope for the day where we get a proper adaptation for the series. One that can truly honor Ishikawa's work. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this recommendation. As always, I am Mr. Falconpunch. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.